At the schoolbell's birthday party. My boyfriend suddenly shoved my face hard into the cake while I wasn't looking. Before I could process what was happening, I heard my boyfriend grinning widely at the schoolbell. How's that? I made your birthday wish come true, didn't I? He even grinned and handed me a towel, sounding like he was praising me. It's just a joke. You're not such a sore loser, right? I grabbed his wrist firmly, and before he could react, I flipped him over with a judo throw. I've been too nice to you. Did you forget I'm a taekwondo black belt? My nose was filled with the greasy smell of cream, my vision went white, and the room felt instantly silent. The tingling at the back of my head told me Shenjin had just slammed my face into the cake. Before I could recover, Shenjin's loud laugh cut through the quiet, directed at the school bell. How's that? I made your birthday wish come true, didn't I? The tense atmosphere vanished at once, and everyone burst out laughing, as if what had just happened was nothing. I slowly lifted my head, my eyes blurred with cream, unable to make out anyone's expressions. But faint whispers reached my ears. I called it. Shenjin definitely pushed Wang Jia into the cake. Remember to send me money in the group. Shenjin really does whatever Lin Shu asks. Damn. On Valentine's Day, Lin Shu told him to spend it with her in the group, and he said no. I lost my bet back then, thinking Shenjin had finally settled down. Valentine's Day ... That was the day Shenjin had a car accident. A ridiculous thought crossed my mind. Was this some messed up love triangle drama? So these people had a group chat where they bet on what Lin Shu would make Shenjin do next? As I tried to process this, Shenjin held out a towel beside me. His tone light, without a trace of guilt, almost cheerful. It's just a joke, you're not the type to get upset over it. I said nothing, took the towel coldly, and wiped the cream off my face roughly, ruining my makeup and making me look even more of a mess. Lin Shu sat nearby in a white dress, gentle and soft, giving me an apologetic look. Ah Jin has always been thoughtless since he was little. Don't mind him, he only did it because it's my birthday. Her expression seemed sincere, but I picked up a hint of arrogance in her tone. Shenjin and Lin Shu were childhood sweethearts. He'd had a crush on her for years, but she'd never responded to his confessions, only calling him a friend. I found out about this after I started dating Shenjin. At first I didn't care, but later we fought about Lin Shu many times. He always said I was being unreasonable. Shenjin had begged me to come to Lin Shu's birthday party, saying she was his good friend and I should let go of my grudge. We'd just had a fight before this. But I didn't want to break up with him, so I went along with it, thinking he'd really reflected on his behavior. Turns out he just wanted me here to play the clown. The belated realization, mixed with long-buried resentment, became unbearable at this moment. I clenched my hands into fists. The second Shenjin tried to put his hand on my shoulder, I grabbed it, my eyes sharp, and flipped him over with a quick shoulder throw. Shenjin's body crashed heavily onto the floor with a dull thud. The laughter stopped instantly, and dozens of shocked eyes turned toward me. Shenjin lay on the ground in a mess, his face contorted in pain, gritting his teeth to keep from crying out. I picked up a rag from the table, wiped my hands, and tossed it onto him. Shenjin, I've spoiled you too much, haven't I? Daring to lay hands on me. I told you before, I have training. Don't make jokes I don't find funny. Lin Shu had stood up in shock when I threw Shenjin, frowning at me in disbelief, contempt in her eyes. How could you? Ah Jin just likes to joke around. Why did you hit him? I shrugged my shoulders. I'm just joking too, to liven up the party. Doesn't he look like a silly monkey lying there? It's my birthday gift to you. Why are you mad? Shenjin joked with me as a present for you. So as his girlfriend I have to follow his lead, right? Everyone's faces turned a spectrum of colors. Lin Shu seemed stunned by my twisted logic, her mouth opening and closing but saying nothing. A sudden snort of laughter came from the corner. I looked over instinctively. It was Han Hyoyu. Han Hyoyu had a roguish look. When he saw me looking, he smiled and raised an eyebrow at me. Exactly, Lin Shu. Shouldn't you be thanking her? Besides, Shenjin hasn't said anything. Why are you butting in as an outsider? He was actually sticking up for me? Shenjin's face turned dark with rage on the floor, a storm brewing in his eyes. I looked unbothered and snapped at him. What? Can't take the joke? Want to break up? After realizing Shen Jin and Lin Shu had been making a fool of me, I felt nothing left for him. Probably not expecting me to be so direct, Shen Jin hesitated, then pushed himself up off the floor, wincing in pain, his face gloomy as thunder. It's just a joke. No big deal, you didn't have to hit that hard. I curled my lip and said nothing. So he did care about saving face. But I'd already made up my mind to cut him off completely after the party. 3. With everyone's effort, the atmosphere finally livened up again. Though under the laughter lay hidden tension, someone suggested playing Truth or Dare. Before I could react, a card was pressed into my hand. The turntable on the table spun quickly, and the first person it pointed to was Lin Shu. Han Hyo-yu asked the question. Is there anyone here of the guys that you like? For some reason, even though he was asking Lin Shu, his eyes drifted toward me casually. I clearly felt Shen Jin sit up straight beside me, staring intently at Lin Shu, completely ignoring me, his actual girlfriend. Lin Shu's smile didn't fade. She glanced around the room, her gaze pausing noticeably on Shen Jin, then smiled sweetly. Yes, ... Cheers and whoops filled the private room. I could even hear people murmuring Shen Jin. When Shen Jin heard her answer, his expression relaxed instantly, his eyebrows lifting in delight. I watched him curiously. So this was what Shen Jin looked like when he was really smitten. Probably because I kept staring at him. Shen Jin coughed awkwardly into his fist, trying to cover it up. Who do you think Xiao Shu likes? Please. The joy was written all over his face, yet he still asked that fake question. The turntable spun again. This time it landed on Han Hyo-yu. He chose Dare. Give a kiss on the hand to someone of the opposite sex here. Everyone's eyes lit up with gossip. Someone shoved Han Hyo-yu playfully. Hurry up, no backing out. I was swirling my wine glass boredly when, in the next second, Han Hyo-yu walked straight toward me, bent down, took my hand quickly, and pressed a light fleeting kiss on my knuckles before letting go. After doing that, Han Hyo-yu looked straight at me and winked, a charming smile on his face, his voice low. I hope you don't mind. Before I could react, Shen Jin suddenly stood up and shoved Han Hyo-yu hard, overreacting even more than I was, his tone threatening. What are you doing? What's your problem? This is who you think you can touch? Is this how your parents raised you to take advantage? Han Hyo-yu stepped back casually, tilting his head, his meaning unclear. At least I don't eat from one bowl while eyeing another. I was confused by Han Hyo-yu's actions. We barely knew each other, only exchanging polite nods when we met. Was Shen Jin just so infuriating that Han Hyo-yu felt the urge to stand up for me? Seeing the situation, someone quickly tried to smooth things over. The boyfriend's jealous. Han Hyo-yu, you went too far. 4. My expression remained calm. I was only surprised for a second by Han Hyo-yu's move, then quickly brushed it off. But Shen Jin's face stayed dark for the rest of the game. When I was watching them play quietly, he suddenly spoke out of the blue. Why didn't you push him away just now? I didn't understand what kind of mindset made him ask that. I looked at him, speaking slowly and clearly, bringing up what had happened earlier. I couldn't. Just like I couldn't stop you from shoving my face into the cake. It's just a joke. I can take it. Besides, with Han Hyo-yu's looks I didn't lose out. Shen Jin froze, disbelief and anger flashing across his face. He opened his mouth to say something, but probably realized he was in the wrong. His lips opening and closing a few times before he turned his head away and fell silent. Right before the game ended, the turntable slowly pointed to Shen Jin. Kiss someone of the opposite sex, not your girlfriend. The person who said this was sitting next to Lin Shu. I clearly saw Lin Shu nudge her with her elbow after the first part of the sentence. Everyone's expressions shifted. But Lin Shu, the one behind it all, looked completely calm, as if none of this had anything to do with her. I thought Shen Jin would happily go over to Lin Shu. Unexpectedly, he didn't move right away, staring at me with an unreadable expression. Aren't you going to say something, girlfriend? Shen Jin's voice was low, only loud enough for the two of us to hear. From what I knew of him, the sarcastic girlfriend at the end clearly showed he was still upset about Han Hyo-yu's kiss and what I'd said. Normally I would have thought he was jealous and felt happy about it. But after watching him flip-flop between Lin Shu and me, even using me as a prop for their flirting. I only found his face utterly disgusting. I truly wondered how he could be so brazen as to act sarcastic toward me. I leaned back silently, putting distance between Shenjin and me. I knew he wanted me to show I was jealous, but I refused to play along. Why did I always have to do what he wanted? I turned to the crowd with a bright smile. This level is fine, don't mind me. The second everyone cheered and jeered, my wrist was suddenly squeezed tight by Shenjin. He spoke through gritted teeth. Wang Jiajia, fine, you said it. Don't come crying to me later. You can act generous, but don't say you can't handle the consequences. He flung my hand away and walked toward Lin Shu. Shenjin bent over with his back to me, gently lifting Lin Shu's chin, as if handling a fragile treasure. Under the dim yellow light, I didn't even see his move clearly, only a sudden burst of gasps that pushed the party to its climax. I'd told myself not to care about a loser like Shenjin, and I'd braced myself for his actions. Yet, a sharp, uncontrollable pain still shot through my heart. I stared at the noisy crowd surrounding them, my eyes stinging. I hastily picked up my drink to distract myself, pretending not to care, and quickly wiped the corner of my eye. After that, I immediately turned back with a calm expression, refusing to be the joke of the night. This would all be over soon. Shenjin returned to his seat. Unlike Lin Shu's shyness, he looked me up and down. After a moment, the corner of his mouth curled into a mocking smile, his tone full of triumph. Wang Jiajia, you said you could take it. Why are you crying? My body tensed up. Humiliation spread slowly through me. I gripped my cup tightly on the table, searching for something to hold on to. Shenjin was smart. When he wanted to make someone happy, he had 100 ways to make you feel cherished, like you were the only one in his eyes. He could also ruin someone easily, just like this. He understood everything, my embarrassment, my pretense. Yet he chose to expose me anyway, as if that would let him win back some pride. Was this how you treated someone you liked? I'd never seen him act this way toward Lin Shu. Was it because Lin Shu was the one he couldn't have, while I'd chased him first? Did that mean I deserved his pointless cruelty? If loving someone meant this much suffering, it wasn't worth it. I'd told Shenjin a long time ago not to make loving him hard for me. I couldn't stand hardship and I'd let go quickly. The words I'd planned to hold until the end spilled out right then. I looked at Shenjin, my eyes empty. I murmured, Shenjin, we're done. Shenjin's face didn't change at all. My breaking up with him seemed as ordinary as saying I'd eat today, not stirring a single ripple in him. Wang Jiajia, I told you not to act generous. Now you're pulling this? Did he think I'd never leave him no matter what? That this breakup was just another tantrum? I took a breath. Shenjin, was it fun betting on me in that group chat? Shenjin's relaxed expression froze instantly. He stared at me in shock, guilt and panic flashing in his eyes. But he still talked tough. What are you talking about? Did someone fill your head with nonsense? I no longer felt like talking. If you didn't want people to find out, you shouldn't have done it. And don't lie after you did. We're finished. I stood up to leave. The party was nearly over anyway. There was no point staying. I just turned around when Shenjin stepped in front of me, finally showing some emotion. He looked conflicted and stammered out, I'm sorry. It's not what you think. I'll apologize, okay? I couldn't understand his behavior. After we break up, you can chase Lin Shu all you want. Or do you two like having me in the middle for entertainment? Sorry, I'm not interested. Shenjin, who'd still looked somewhat apologetic, suddenly perked up, as if he'd caught me in a lie. Wang Jiajia, I knew it. You're just mad I'm close to Lin Shu. I told you so many times she's only my friend. There he went again, the same old lines. I already knew what he'd say next without listening. I tried to walk past him, but Shenjin moved to block me again. Han Hyoyu suddenly appeared in front of me, grinning. Shenjin, it's not nice to manhandle a single girl, is it? Shenjin's face darkened instantly. She's my girlfriend. Han Hyoyu didn't flinch. Is she? You must need your ears checked. I heard her say we're broken up. Did you miss that? Han Hyoyu's voice was loud enough that everyone still there turned to look. Lin Shu hurried over and stood beside Shenjin, looking worried. Is this my fault? Did Jiajia misunderstand? Don't fight, it was just a game. Shenjin didn't answer. He stared daggers at Han Hyu, the air tense between them. This is between us. Mind your own damn business. Han Hyu chuckled lightly. Why is it none of my business? I'm pursuing Wang Jia. What about you? Are you? Didn't you just kiss someone else? He raised an eyebrow and nodded toward Lin Shu. Looking back, that night still felt chaotic to me. I couldn't understand why Shen Jin had started throwing punches at Han Hyu. I thought Han Hyu had only been joking that day. But he actually started pursuing me seriously, coming up with new tricks every day. At a restaurant, I watched Han Hyu eagerly serving me food and finally asked the question I'd been holding back. Why are you pursuing me? Han Hyu glanced up at me, not stopping his movements. He didn't seem offended and instead curled his lip. Wang Jia, your memory's still terrible. Yutong Street, Shuyang City. You beat me up plenty in primary school, remember? I stared at him in shock, my memories rushing back to that summer. I'd been sent to learn martial arts as a kid because I had too much energy. Growing up, I'd only ever been the one hitting others. The boy next door had gotten it the worst. He always let his dog scare me. But that boy had been chubby back then. I paused at a loss for words, then stammered, You lost a lot of weight. Han Hyu raised an eyebrow. I recognized you right away. Didn't you say back then you wanted a boyfriend who could take a beating? I'm way tougher now than I was as a kid. My face froze immediately. I wished I could go back in time and tell my younger self to watch my mouth and not brag. I laughed awkwardly and twisted my fingers nervously. Wait, you're serious? Han Hyu saw how stiff I was, put his chopsticks down and propped his chin up with one hand. He chuckled, his tone light. No need to be nervous. I'm not even ready if you say yes right now. I just wanted to say don't say no right away. Give me a chance. Come on, eat before the food gets cold. I breathed out softly, then started overthinking again. Had I hit him too hard back then, making him hold a grudge all these years? I secretly glanced up at Han Hyu, only to meet his smiling eyes immediately. I panicked and ducked my head, my gaze wandering, almost burying my face in my bowl. Suddenly, Han Hyu reached over and tucked a strand of hair behind my ear, letting out a low, hushed laugh. I bowed my head even lower, my face burning. For no reason at all, the atmosphere around us felt strangely off. I barely tasted anything the whole meal. Han Hyu's gaze was too intense, making me flustered. Still, dinner was fairly peaceful. Just as we were about to leave, Shen Jin suddenly rushed out, staring at me with a dark expression. I flinched and stepped back instinctively, making Shen Jin's face turn even blacker. Shen Jin snapped at me right away, sounding like a jealous partner catching someone cheating. Wang Jia, what are you doing? Why didn't you tell me you were having dinner alone with him? I noticed he was holding a box of chestnut cake from my favorite shop. We're broken up. I don't need to report to you. The words broken up clearly struck a nerve. He grabbed my wrist so tightly it hurt, anger blazing in his eyes. When did I agree? You chased me first. You don't get to just break up like that. Shen Jin's clinging annoyed me greatly, and my tone turned sharp. What do you want? I'm not bothering to bring up your old mistakes. But that doesn't mean I forgave you. Breaking up is perfect. Now you can be with Lin Shu without making excuses. Thinking about that made all the old memories flood back. Every time I needed him and Lin Shu did too. He never chose me first. I'd been blind and deaf back then, waiting for his explanations, only getting nothing but heartache. Like on Valentine's Day. Shen Jin had told me he was busy at first. Then the hospital called and asked me to look after him. I'd seen him holding a small box. When he woke up, I'd asked him hopefully who it was for. When he said it was for me, my heart had burst like fireworks. I'd been too caught up to notice his odd expression. I wondered now if he'd laughed at me for being so lovesick. Thinking of this, I unclasped the necklace from my neck and held it out to Shen Jin. My eyes calm, my voice steady. Here, I thought it was for me back then. If you want, I'll buy you a new one later. Shen Jin clutched the necklace and finally realized I was serious, not just throwing a tantrum. He froze up completely. You kept saying you liked me. Is your love that shallow? Or have you fallen for Han Hyu already? My heart went cold. If my love counted as shallow, then Shen Jin had never loved me at all. Shallow me who'd arranged to run into him every day when chasing him. Who'd scraped for topics just to talk to him longer. After we got together, I brought him breakfast every morning. Showed up whenever he called, never complaining. And this was how I was repaid? I was done arguing with him and tore into him directly. So what if I have? What's it to you? Shenjin, mind your own business. I'm saving face for you, don't make me drop it. Shenjin frowned tightly, acting like he refused to understand, trying to smooth things over. I know it's about Lin Shu. Fine, I'll keep my distance from her from now on. So he'd known all along. Then why hadn't he done it earlier? I didn't want to waste another breath. I took Han Haoyu's hand and left without glancing back at Shenjin. Shenjin finally snapped at my action, yelling furiously behind me. Wang Jia, don't you regret it? I'm giving you an out. If you don't take it now, there won't be any later. I almost laughed. That was his idea of an olive branch. Things between Han Haoyu and me got better and better. He was nothing like Shenjin. I felt truly cherished, not worrying about being imperfect, just being myself. Han Haoyu said he wanted to take me to the racetrack. I hadn't been there in ages, so I agreed right away. Talk about bad luck. I ran into Lin Shu, Shenjin, and their group. But something was different this time. Their roles seemed reversed. Shenjin, who'd always been fawning, looked indifferent, while Lin Shu kept trying to make conversation. I was about to turn around and pretend I didn't see them when our eyes met Shenjin's, which lit up instantly. He walked quickly toward me. The next second, Han Haoyu slipped an arm around my waist, looking extremely intimate. I glanced up at Han Haoyu. He lifted his chin slightly, childish competitiveness in his eyes. I stayed quiet, a small smile forming on my lips. Shenjin stopped in front of us and saw the scene. The light in his eyes dimmed. He looked like he wanted to explode but held back. Why are you here? Want a race? I can take you for a few laps. Before I could answer, Lin Shu cut in right behind him. Yeah, Ajin's really good. But Jia, you probably haven't raced before, right? It's good you're careful. Jin used to say I was too bold. Her words were subtle, but I could taste the hidden malice. I looked at Lin Shu sharply. Speaking casually, bad luck for you, I know how to race too. Wanna go head to head? Lin Shu's face froze, clearly not expecting me to be so direct. She hesitated and glanced at Shenjin. I don't know. I've been practicing for a long time. I crossed my arms and shrugged, sounding relaxed. It's just for fun. Scared I'll win? Lin Shu's eyebrows lifted, her smile staying in place. Fine, let's race. Shenjin tugged my arm. Lin Shu's really good at this. Do you even know how? You never told me. I shot him a side eye. That's 'cause you never listened to me. The rev of engines soon filled the track, loud enough to drown out everything else. Once Lin Shu and I stepped out, the people with Shenjin cheered and screamed on cue. Lin Shu stood beside me, dropping her public disguise, her provocation plain. Cars don't break easy on the track. Be careful. I held my helmet, raised an eyebrow, and smiled back. Same to you. The flag dropped. Lin Shu's car shot forward. I slammed on the gas right behind her. The roar of the engine sent adrenaline spiking, and the cheers around made my scalp tingle. After 2 laps, we were neck and neck. As we approached a curve, I gripped the wheel tight, ready to overtake. The next second, Lin Shu's car cut into my line. I frowned and immediately understood her plan. If I didn't slow down, we'd crash, and I'd likely be the one pushed off the track. If I did slow down, I'd have no chance to win. Thrilled by the speed, I didn't back down. I floored the gas instead. I hadn't felt this alive in a long time. I gambled right. I grinned as my rear bumper brushed past her front. Lin Shu stared at me in shock, too late to adjust her steering. She slammed straight off the track. By the time I pulled over leisurely, Lin Shu was surrounded by people fawning over her. Han Haoyu looked at me with a smile. Better? Got it all out of your system? Han Haoyu looked at me with a smile. Better? Got it all out of your system? I scratched my head, a little embarrassed. Breaking up with Shenjin had still bothered me more than I admitted. Those feelings didn't just go away with self-comfort. Like trying not to panic during an exam, it never worked. I was surprised Han Haoyu had noticed. I wrinkled my nose and stuck out my tongue. Yep. Just then, People defending Lin Shu crowded over, furious. Wang Jia, you're way too competitive. Lin Shu hit her head. I stared at this random accuser, utterly annoyed. Did you even watch the race? She crashed 'cause she lost focus. What's that got to do with me? Shen Jin stood nearby, saying nothing. Lin Shu, the one who'd actually crashed, walked over weakly. It's okay, it was my fault. Saying it's okay that pitifully was just begging people to misunderstand. Sure enough, the guy glared at me like I was a monster and shouted at Shen Jin. Shen Jin, you're just gonna let your ex bully Lin Shu? Is she doing this 'cause of you? Shen Jin frowned at the words and refuted, don't talk nonsense. But his eyes clearly thought the same thing. Typical. Once you stop simping for someone, nobody believes you. I lifted my chin and shot back. If you're defending Lin Shu this hard, does that mean you like her? The guy turned red with anger, pointing at me. Am I wrong? You're just twisted 'cause he didn't want you. I stepped forward, grabbed his finger and bent it back. Didn't your parents tell you it's rude to point? I hadn't even pressed hard, but he screamed like a stuck pig. Shengyin immediately stepped in to stop me. Wang Jia, calm down. I looked at Shenjin and let go. Shenjin, don't flatter yourself. If I'd known your little crash would make you all this delusional, I would have let her win. And that group chat you and Lin Shu used to flirt in? It's disgusting. I don't eat garbage. Everyone in the group was from Shenjin's circle, but some outsiders were there too. Their eyes lit up at the words. After breaking up, I'd looked into that chat. Birds of a feather indeed. Shenjin and Lin Shu both paled. I'd wanted to let the past stay in the past, but some people just wouldn't let it die. I crossed my arms and sneered at Shenjin. Cat got your tongue? Everyone else in the group was calling Lin Shu your wife. And you never corrected them. You even sent red packets. Or do you have an older brother so she's technically your sister-in-law? I turned to Lin Shu. And you said you didn't like Shenjin. Isn't this sexual harassment? You want to report it? Their faces flushed red and white. I felt a sharp rush of satisfaction. Lin Shu still refused to admit it. Wang Jia, how dare you slander me? I know you've always been jealous that Ajin and I are close. I'll just stay away from you both from now on. Why would you say such things? She always played the victim. I stepped forward to argue. Han Hyoyu held me back, watching Lin Shu calmly. What you've done and said leaves traces. They're not hard to find. You'll see what I mean soon. And Wang Jia is single now. Don't say you both. With that, he patted my shoulder reassuringly and led me away. He leaned close to my ear as we left. Those chat logs will be everywhere tomorrow. I looked up at him. His face was neutral, but there was a mischievous glint in his eye. Warmth spread through my chest. I stopped, turned back toward the group and raised my voice. Who said I'm single? This is my boyfriend. I laced my fingers through Han Haoyu's, and held our hands up for everyone to see. Han Haoyu stared at me in shock, his eyes sparkling like stars. He tried to hold back a smile, his voice shaking as he asked, You mean it? I pouted, acting casual, but smiled in my eyes. You can pretend I don't if you want. Han Hyoyu squeezed my hand tight and didn't say anything. After a while I heard muffled laughter behind me. What a dork. 10. Just like Han Hyoyu said, the chat logs between Shenjin, Lin Shu, and their group spread all over campus the next day. I hadn't expected him to act so fast, or for the reaction to be this big. I was on my way back to the dorm when a haggard-looking Lin Shu blocked my path. Her usual disguise was gone. She glared at me hatefully, grinding her teeth. Wang Jia, is it fun turning everyone against me? Leave some room for people to breathe, don't go too far. I never thought I'd hear those words come out of Lin Shu's mouth. I scoffed. Did someone force you to say all those things in the chat logs? Did someone make you tell Shen Jin to spend Valentine's Day with you? Or make him drink with you? Lin Shu, why didn't you think about leaving people some leeway back then? Only care now that it's blowing up in your face? Lin Shu's face turned ashen, her hands clenched tight. In the end you're just mad Shenjin doesn't like you. I wagged a finger at her. Wrong. I'm taking down Shenjin too. I just can't stand the two of you acting like nothing happened while I'm stuck feeling bad. If I'm uncomfortable, everyone should be. This is only the start. The next second, Lin Shu looked behind me with a triumphant expression. Now you see what she's really like. I turned around. It was Shenjin. I felt no guilt at being caught. Instead, I lifted my chin, glanced at him sideways and looked away. Shenjin's expression was unreadable. He stared straight at me and asked an unrelated question. Are you really with Han Hyoyu now? I crossed my arms, shutting him out. What, wasn't I clear enough that day? Shenjin took a step forward, his eyes dark, his tone heavy. You're not just being petty, are you? We can start over. I'll stop doing the things you hate. He spoke with obvious difficulty, anxiety written all over his face. For someone as arrogant as him, this was practically swallowing his pride and surrendering. In that moment, I finally understood why he was hesitantly begging for reconciliation. I slowly realized that the Shen Jin who'd once been out of my reach was now offering me the affection I'd always wanted. But my heart felt completely empty. Looking at him again, I was certain I had truly let go. I smiled openly. Shen Jin, you can't force liking someone. I didn't get it before and you don't get it now. I turned to leave, but Shen Jin hurried to say I didn't actually kiss Lin Shu that night. Oh, well, Han Hyoyu and I had kissed recently anyway. Before I left, I heard Lin Shu's furious voice. The first time I'd heard her speak to him like that. What are you doing? Those are useless things. Why didn't you tell her to delete everything? Do you know how much this is ruining me? So only when her own interests were damaged did she throw a fit. Shen Jin's annoyed voice followed. It's already out. Deleting it now won't help. Leave me alone. I'd never heard them talk like that. So their relationship was that fragile after all. The scandal blew up even more afterward. Lin Shu tried to release a so-called clarification, but it got debunked immediately. The little support she had left turned entirely to insults. I heard they both got called in for talks, and lost their eligibility for several awards. When they ran into each other on campus later, they ignored each other completely. They'd finally fallen out. 11. I didn't pay much attention to what happened after that. My relationship with Han Hyoyu developed steadily. I saw Shen Jin again at graduation. A casual glance upward met his fixed stare. After the ceremony, I waited where I was while Han Hyoyu went to get a camera. Shen Jin walked over, something unreadable in his eyes. Have you been doing well? I glanced at him briefly, speaking politely. Yes. School went well, and I have a good job. The conversation died there. I didn't bother asking about him out of courtesy. Shen Jin stood beside me in silence. When he saw Han Hyoyu approaching in the distance, he said dryly, Good. He left right after. I didn't see his final expression, nor did I care where he went. I waved to get Han Hyoyu's attention. Everything was new, everything was looking up.